Anybody and everybody can do Pilates. You just can't generalize and say that Pilates can only be done by people who are flexible or have some amount of strength, because it's a rehabilitative practice. Big muscle, big body gentlemen. At the end of half an hour, they were just dripping in sweat and they were like, what did you do? So I was like, well, you guys think that Pilates is not challenging?
LeBron James and Lance Armstrong and Cristiano Ronaldo, some of the most seasoned athletes in the world, are finding it beneficial in their sport. I felt this was a complete workout. In one single session, you're pretty much working all important movement patterns.
Pilates has been around for 100 years. I'm more immune to potential injury, which I think applies to pretty much anyone who has a long-term active lifestyle.
I met people who've been doing Pilates for 25 years,
Wow.
30 years. Like, workout is supposed to make you feel better after the workout than how you were feeling before.
Yeah, I'm hooked. I think I'm going to come back for regular classes.
Rishabh and Kavitha, welcome to SparX. We just had such an amazing class. This is not necessarily my first class, but a first class after a long period of time. And I'm feeling so fresh. I'm used to, like, after workout, you feel exhausted, you are trying to catch your breath, but I'm just feeling this surge of energy. And is this how a Pilates class is supposed to feel like?
Yeah, actually, like, workout is supposed to make you feel better after the workout than how you were feeling before. So you actually achieved what a workout should have given you. That's what a Pilates class would make you feel like pretty much all the time.
So Rishabh, you want to start with your, this Pilates Circus, a new initiative by Cult.
Yes.
What prompted you and the Cult team to consider Pilates as a format? And looks like the reception has been absolutely amazing. I think the center is packed all day. So what was the thought process? Why Pilates? Why now?
Yes. So exactly about 1 year back, I just started to look out for what's happening outside, and I just tried out a bunch of different formats, not just Pilates. Pilates happened to be one of them, and I had no background in Pilates. So I had heard a lot about Pilates, but that was the first time I did a Pilates session. And I just realized that, like, from my personal point of view, I felt this was a complete workout.
Mm-hmm.
So in one single session, you're pretty much working all important movement patterns. It's also very compound. So it's not like, just working your arms on a day and, things like that. So from a workout standpoint, I felt it's really good. Then I read up and I found out that it's becoming a big thing in the US and all different continents. I also traveled to Singapore and did a bunch of classes in different places. And I saw that people are in love with this format across different territories. I spoke to a few users who've been doing Pilates, and I met people who've been doing Pilates for 25 years,
Wow.
30 years. And I thought that kind of stickiness is something amazing. So I just started understanding a little more about the format, and I realized that it's picking up so much because it is one very low impact in nature. So the load on the joints is minimal while you work on strengthening the muscles. From an injury prevention standpoint, it's great. And this is something that people find very sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that this is the need of the hour. We need people to find something that they can stick to for next 20, 30 years. And hence,
Yeah, clearly from the judging by the reception that is getting, clearly it's a need of the hour. And I hear that now we are looking to expand many centers.
Yes.
So hopefully this is probably a new fitness trend and definitely not a fad, because Pilates has been around for 100 years, right? Kavitha,
Yeah.
I think it's only starting to become mainstream now, but it's been around for a long period of time. So it's
About 20th century, I would say,
Uh-huh.
when Joseph Pilates introduced the practice, because he was during World War I in 1914, he was placed in an internment camp in England.
Mhm.
And that's where he started training all of the internees with this movement practice, and started rehabilitating them. So he needed some kind of an equipment. So he actually started using hospital beds, attached them with pulleys and springs and straps, and created an apparatus which seemed to work perfectly well with what he had devised.
Mhm.
And then also, because of the breathing mechanism, your lungs work at its maximum capacity. So apparently, when the Spanish flu struck during 1918, not one soldier who was in the internment camp contracted the flu. And he used to constantly boast about this, saying that it's because of the breathing mechanism that I use in my movement practice. Because at that point in time, it was called contrology. He called it contrology. And then to honor the movement practice after him, the elders who, carried the practice ahead started calling it Pilates. So it's been in, I would say, practice in the US right from 1926 when he set up his first studio in a building on 8th Avenue.
Oh, so 100-year anniversary is coming up.
Yeah.
It's about time that Pilates to become more mainstream.
Absolutely.
And a lot more people get to know about it. So look, I've been into fitness for more than 25 years. I think I've tried nearly everything, including some Pilates, on and off. But I've never, thought about Pilates very seriously until, recently. From your point of view, who is Pilates for? Is it for a particular age group, for a particular condition? Who should consider giving Pilates a try?
I would say Pilates is a very inclusive practice. Anybody and everybody can do Pilates across different age groups, different backgrounds, different fitness levels. Because what Pilates does is, as a practice, it'll meet you where you are in your body. You might have limitations, but we kind of take that into consideration and build strength from there on. So that is why it's a very universal practice. And, you just can't generalize and say that Pilates can only be done by people who are flexible or people who have some amount of strength. Because as a practice, first of all, it's a rehabilitative practice. So that is why, say, active agers who are going through any kind of chronic conditions, be sports people, who want to stay injury-free, and then children, and also women who are in their prenatal and postnatal stages. So, it's just vast. So anybody and everybody can do Pilates. It just remains to be tapped now.
Yeah, Rishabh, I think in India, Pilates has been in India for a while, but it has always seen this, Bandra phenomena where all these Bollywood celebrities will have Pilates as part of their fitness regimen and also talk very vocally about it as well of what it was doing. But it never really got out of that. Maybe a few studios here and there. First of all, what attracted, Bollywood stars of all people to consider Pilates, among so many variety of that? What is it about Pilates? And do you think that has done something for building awareness about Pilates in the country?
100%. First of all, I feel Bollywood has done an amazing job in promoting the culture of fitness and also Pilates in India. And because it was more to be seen with Bollywood, it ended up becoming very aspirational. And from the outside, it looked like, oh, this is something I want to try out, but how? I think it got popular amongst Bollywood because initially, when Joseph Pilates had opened his studio in America, a lot of ballet dancers started to attend those sessions. In fact, where he opened his first studio, the National Ballet Academy happened to be in the same building, so it was very accessible for them. And some of the very popular dancers started doing Pilates. And they realized that, they are not getting injured anymore, or it is really good for their rehab. And dancers do get injured all the time because a lot of repetitive stress and things. And so it started becoming very popular from that standpoint. And then, coaches like Yasmin Karachiwala have done a brilliant job in introducing it to Bollywood and to the people of India through Bollywood, of course. And once they started doing it, they also realized that with their hectic schedule and the shoot schedule and the stunts and the dancing, this just helps make their practice a lot better. This makes their current skill set a lot better, and it's also low impact, so they can see themselves doing it for a long time. Oh yes, I met Yasmin around somewhere around last time, and she told me Deepika Padukone does Pilates with her. And even if she has a 6 a.m. shoot schedule, she would do a class at 4 a.m. So it just talks a lot about discipline and focus. And people outside, people like us, when we see, Deepika Padukone doing it or Hrithik Roshan doing it, we of course get inspired by them, and they shape our culture in multiple ways. So I think it got popular because of injury prevention and a good workout amongst Bollywood, and it got aspirational amongst everybody else because they are doing it.
So right now we're in HSR layout, and Cult has, I think, like 6-7 centers nearby, literally 100, 200 meters. And both Curefit office and Miracle Labs office is here. And sometime I think, if I miss my workout in the morning, I would like to come in the afternoon and work out. Yeah. But most when you go work out, you're sweating, you have to, arrange for a shower, etc. It's a whole 2-3 hour affair to be able to get squeezed and work out. But right now I'm feeling fresh. Is this how like most Pilates sessions are? You can, walk out of the studio feeling good, but not sweating and not desperate need of a shower immediately?
No, absolutely. Because what Pilates does is, because of the breathing mechanism, you feel extremely energized at the end of 60 minutes. It is gentle, yet challenging. Because I'm sure after your Pilates lesson with me, you must have felt every tiny little muscle in your body waking up, and that keeps you so energized. So from a sweat perspective, I would say, again, as you start doing much more challenging exercises, you could sweat, because just the other day we taught, I taught a group of, fitness trainers from Cult, and I just did like a 30-minute session, and all of them, like, big muscle, big body gentlemen. At the end of half an hour, they were just dripping in sweat, and they were like, "What did you do?" So I was like, "Well, you guys think that Pilates is not challenging? It is." But again, I would say from a sweat standpoint, it depends from a person to person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I can manage without sweating too much. I'll be able to try some sessions, during the daytime as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's always morning and evening option as well. Let's talk about some of what happens in the Pilates. We think we got good footage, I think, from the class we did.
Yeah.
We'll use some of that. So let's start with the first machine.
Yeah.
It's a very, complicated looking contraption. There is all these springs and carriage which move back and forth. And there's a lot of, what is that machine? Why do we use that?
Yeah. I mean, what you worked on was a reformer. Now, a reformer is built on a carriage which has a bed that you lay down on. It's attached with springs. The equipment that we worked on had 4 springs. So the springs in the apparatus offer support and resistance. Now, if a practitioner cannot perform a certain exercise, the springs will support him, also challenge him with resistance. And it's built with straps, which has like a pulley system, which opens and closes the carriage. So it's extremely versatile. Exercises are done lying down on your back, which is supine. You do exercises lying on your tummy, prone. You sit down, you stand on your feet, you stand on your knees. So it's done on different planes of movement as well.
One of the exercises you mentioned is 100, which I think is fairly popular exercise.
Yes.
My abs were burning towards the end of it. Describe what is 100? What do we do?
Okay. So that is the first exercise that we do in the classical Pilates repertoire. It's a warm-up exercise. So you are inhaling for 5 counts and exhaling for 5 counts. So that means your lungs are working at its maximum capacity. You're pumping your arms up and down to build circulation in the body. So depending on where you are in your Pilates practice, your legs are either bent or stretched out in front of you. Your spine is bending forward into flexion, which is, helping your abdominals work. Your hips and pelvis are stable. So it's a full body exercise, which generates a lot of heat. So again, in Pilates, especially in the classical form, we always work with less number of reps. Again, the quality of movement is so deep that you don't need to do those 20, 30 reps to be able to break into a sweat or feel the exercise. Yes.
Yeah, Rishabh, you were sharing with me earlier that this center, which is not very old, is already quite full and people are coming throughout the day. What are you hearing from people who come and use? I'm guessing a lot of people are trying Pilates for the first time in their life. What is their initial experience? What is the feedback you are getting from people?
Yes. So people initially, when they come in with basically no expectations really, because they have never done it, but they've heard a lot about it. They've seen a lot of it on social media. So they definitely want to try it out. So that initial excitement is there.
Is Pilates a lot of, is Instagram worthy as well? Have to be,
it's highly Instagrammable.
Okay.
That's highly Instagrammable. And I think a lot of popularity also via social media, I think it's really helped. Anything about fitness in a country like ours, where we need more people to, start hitting the gym and things. Anything that creates that culture of fitness, I think it's great. So if it's Instagrammable, I think for me it's a really good news. People in the first class, they get a little overwhelmed because too many instructions in the class, and which also means, and too much focus on the breathing, so which also means that you have to mentally be there. You can't think of anything else, and if you do it, you'll miss the instruction, and the teacher will also know that you're not able to follow. So a little overwhelmed after the first class, but after 2 or 3 classes, people start getting hooked to it. And one of the biggest benefits that people have told us is, I'm not having low back pain now. I'm able to, when I walk, I just feel more in control. So a lot of feedback is coming in terms of movement quality getting better. And I think, with people sitting through the day at work, I think that is really needed. They start to see the change in how they look after a while, but it's good that in a few sessions, they start to move better.
Yeah, actually, in preparation for this, I was just looking at what is the medical data available. And this is one of the things, there is a formal study which just recently, a few years ago, came out, which says like definitive help for a lot of chronic lower back issues, to the extent that I think even doctors are considering prescribing Pilates as one option for people to consider. And I think you also pointed out the sedentary lifestyle, which kind of in some ways all of us are suffer from.
Yeah.
And that does lead to potentially chronic back issues. And Pilates could be a pretty strong counter to that.
Correct. And especially in my case, I have a spinal injury. And I feel that when I'm regularly doing Pilates, even just 2 sessions in a week, I am so much better when I'm training at the gym, when I'm lifting weights, doing deadlifts and squats. I feel a lot more safer because my spine is getting ready for that kind of a load. And the deep muscles through the hip and the spine are working when you're doing Pilates. And when we do that, the bigger muscles work even better.
I think earlier in the office, you shared with me that you said 99% of the customers are women. First of all, I'm curious, who is that 1% guy? What's bringing him in?
So I'll actually, on that note, I'd share something. So there was, once someone sitting here, wife was doing a session inside and was just waiting. These are initial days, first few days of Pilates circle. And we said, you're just waiting. Why don't you just do a class? No, I think I lift weights, so this is not really for me. You're anyway waiting. Why don't you just do a class? So we got the gentleman to get into the chair class, because at that time the reformer class was already in progress. 50 minutes, he came out like, what was that? Immediately bought the membership and has been coming regularly. And that's a trend that I've seen even globally after talking to global operators. It starts with almost 99% or 100% women, but they get their plus ones, their friends, colleagues, and it goes to a 70-30 split over a period of time.
What is the instant appeal to women about Pilates? Why does it start that way? That initially all the attraction you see from women, is there something particularly suited for women physiology and their need for exercise and so on?
Not really. I think it's more to do with awareness.
Okay.
So because when they see all of these online platforms where people are doing Pilates, it's always projected on women doing Pilates. And that's mostly in India. But what people don't realize, that it was created by a man for men.
Yeah.
And that needs to be awakened in our country, because as I mentioned, yes, it's gentle and challenging, but at the same time, it's very universal. Women possibly, get into it thinking it's all about flexibility, and men, when they see all of these posts, they think it's just about, doing acrobatic kind of exercises, which is not actually true. When they come and work on the equipment and also the mat work, where they have to use their own body weight, they understand that how challenging it can be as a movement practice. So I would say it's more about men building awareness within men and, telling them that, yes, you can go and lift weights, you can do all of those HIIT workouts. But when you start doing Pilates, it's going to keep you safe. Because it's going to start working all of your non-dominant muscles, all your stabilizing muscles are going to stay intact, and plus build balance in your body.
Yeah, as a man, one of the things which interests me in Pilates is this whole potential impact on injury prevention. I've had, mostly because of my active lifestyle in fitness, many chronic injuries.
Yeah.
And as I'm getting older, I'm quite aware of I now sometimes even scared of picking up one more injury or activating an old injury.
Yeah.
So for me, the attraction of incorporating Pilates and strengthening joints, mobility, flexibility, etc., so that I'm more immune to potential injury.
Yeah.
Which I think applies to pretty much anyone who has a long-term active lifestyle.
Yeah.
Maybe Rishabh, to your point, at least people can consider just trying one class and see what it is. Like, as I'm feeling great after doing my first class and also sold. I think I'll definitely going to be coming here on a weekly basis. But I think it's potentially equally beneficial to both men and women.
Also, when you Google athletes who do Pilates,
Yeah.
you'll find names of, for example, LeBron James and Lance Armstrong and Cristiano Ronaldo, some of the most seasoned athletes in the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, if they are finding it beneficial in their sport, I'm sure pretty much everybody, once they try it out, they'll start to realize, what's correct for them.
Yeah, speaking of well-known athletes and celebrities, I think I saw this another story about Lady Gaga. I think she talked about Pilates very strongly. I think 2017-18, and how not only helped with her physical health but mental health.
Yeah.
Is there, like, in Kavitha, in your experience, what are the potential implications on mental health? Because we pretty much for entire 50 minutes, you're also paying attention to your breath. So it must do something to your overall mental.
Absolutely. There's a lot of mindfulness incorporated in the practice. And again, with the breathing mechanism, what typically happens is it helps you center yourself. Your movements that you do is a lot more refined. And that also eventually helps with your mental clarity. It grounds you. So, you leave all the noise out of the studio because the teacher's constantly talking to you, cueing you, and you are paying attention to every part of your body when you're exercising. So I would say from that end, it builds mindfulness, and which eventually helps you relieve stress. You tend to leave all your emotional baggage out of the studio when you come into your class. So that's where the mindfulness would come in.
And throughout the session, you maintain focus on your breath. I think you were bringing my attention back to this 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale.
Correct.
Do you try to maintain that through the entire session?
Yeah, that's the breathing mechanism. As I mentioned to you in Pilates, we laterally breathe. So we inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, which also helps the lung work at its maximum capacity. And then you're focused. And when you're focused and you're breathing, you're extremely precise in your movement. There's a lot of control. So that's how the injury aspect stays out of the exercise, because you work in correct alignment. Yeah.
And Pilates also has a very colorful history, I think.
Oh, yes.
And one is, how it started in World War I, and he was actually confined because being a foreign national in England, I think, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
And despite literally being a prisoner of war, but he worked with fellow prisoners and created this whole mechanism out of, as you said, from springs and hospital beds and whatnot. But later on also, like much later when Pilates started to become popular, it seemed like somebody else patented the name Pilates.
Yeah.
And then later on throughout 70s, 80s, no one can use the word Pilates without taking a license from somebody who had nothing to do.
Correct.
It was not Joseph Pilates.
Yeah.
And then it kind of set the field back for almost 30, 40 years, right?
Correct. Almost 20 years, I would say. So right up to between 80s and 90s, there was a lawsuit. So there was one of his students who wanted to patent the name. And so it kept going back and forth. It took almost 20 years for the courts to say, no, it cannot be patented. It is a practice like yoga. So anybody and everybody can use the name Pilates because it belonged to the founder. The name belonged to the founder. So because before that, as I mentioned, it was called Contrology. And after that, I think a lot of practitioners and studio owners across the US were a lot relieved that they could use the name Pilates just like any other movement practice.
Yeah, I think that decision came in 2004. And after that, did this Pilates kind of start to take off in a bigger way because of this whole patent issue getting resolved and so on?
Well, not really. Pilates has always been very big in the US.
Okay.
It's just that it's probably been very confined to the US, and then it's trickled down to Europe to some extent. And then eventually, I would say in the last 12 to 15 years, it's probably started coming down towards Asia. people practice Pilates like my principals, who own the Pilates center. They've possibly been doing Pilates for the last like 55 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and their studio has also been operational for the last 30 plus years. So that's the amount of traction that it's built around practitioners in the US. Yeah.
And are there some similarities between Pilates and yoga? Because, there's so much focus on breathing, control movements. In yoga, you, of course, use your body weight, which you do here also with support of spring and carriage and so on.
Yeah.
Some of the fundamental principle-wise, you think there is some overlap?
Well, I would say maybe a little bit. But first of all, the breathing mechanism in yoga is different. So you inhale through your nose and you exhale through your mouth. In Pilates, you inhale through the nose and exhale through your mouth. Sorry, in yoga, you inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And in Pilates, we use equipments. In yoga, you necessarily don't. And again, yoga focuses on a more meditative kind of a practice, which helps build flexibility. Whereas in Pilates, we're talking about the exercise regime building strength, but a lot of emphasis which is being laid on core stability, on posture, on overall awareness of the body. So that's where you see the difference. But yes, both practices are focused on breath.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the class, Kavitha, that you were pretty much throughout the class, you were talking, communicating, a lot of explanation, instruction, support. Is that typical of a Pilates class? There's a deep involvement from...
Well, I would say this is typical from a classical Pilates perspective, because as I mentioned to you, we follow the authentic or the traditional method of Pilates. It's extremely instruction driven because as teachers, we do not demonstrate. We have to get the words across to our practitioners only using verbal cues and a lot of physical partnering. Yeah.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
So this kind of training, Rishabh, as we are building out Pilates Circle and looking to more centers, we will need a lot of trainers. So is interest in becoming a Pilates trainer also growing? Is there enough pool of trainers? And also maybe related to that, is someone who's interested, what does it take to become a Pilates instructor?
Yeah. So from a background standpoint, trainers who've done strength and conditioning or yoga or even dancing, they can make great Pilates instructors. So in fact, in the first batch of hiring, we deliberately got trainers from all these backgrounds. So we got a couple of them from dance background, a couple of them from strength background and yoga background, and all of them seem to be doing really well. So they need to understand movement mechanics a little bit. They need to have extremely good communication because they are talking through the class, and just then the ability to learn and open up to something new. So internally, we've Kavitha has created a course that is the entry level course is 275 hours, very rigorous, and they have to go through that course for a period of the first 2 months before they hit the floor past the exam. So as long as the willingness to learn and openness to do something new out of the comfort zone is there, and some background in fitness, pretty much everybody can become a Pilates instructor. So from a trainer pool standpoint, I think there is a lot that exists in India, and especially within Cult itself, because we already employ quite a big number of trainers right now. What Pilates does to trainers is give them longevity. So think about a dance fitness instructor. It's very intense to take a dance fitness class on their own body.
Yeah.
So 4 or 5 years, it starts to become a little tough. If they get into Pilates after that, it just gives them, there is no shelf life, like Kavitha says. So it gives a lot of longevity in the career. The earning potential also, because there's a lot of interest in private teaching, the earning potential also improves. So from a training pool standpoint, I don't see much of a problem. We should be able to tap into what we have.
And this course you mentioned, 275 hours. Right now, it is only available for people who can potentially be Pilates trainer here, or is open to anyone, like a typical teacher training course in yoga. There are a lot of people just do it for deeper understanding of yoga. Is this course available to this broader set of people?
Yes, this course is available. Kavitha is the licensed teacher in India to deliver the course. So in fact, before I met Kavitha, she was already running that course, and she is certified quite a few instructors. It's a very lengthy course. When we started working on this, we made it a little custom built for Pilates Circle instructors. So this version is available only for Pilates Circle instructors, but they can always, sign up outside.
So can you talk a bit more about what does it take? What does the entire course duration look like? From beginning till end, what kind of things people do, and
Sure.
why is it so rigorous?
Yeah. The reason it's rigorous is because it's comprehensive. If an intermediate certification with us is for a minimum of 450 hours, and then you have advanced certifications going up to 950 hours, which is typically done between 9 months to 18 months. The reason it is comprehensive.
Who is the certification authority here?
My studio, Pilates for Wellbeing, is a licensed studio here in India, which is affiliated to the Pilates Center in Boulder, Colorado. So I'm also an exclusive licensed teacher here in India. So having said that, people need to dive into it fully if they want to become a Pilates teacher. It is not about just learning the choreography of the exercise. It's about learning to do Pilates in their own bodies first before they can translate it to their clients. Because again, it's built so much on the rehabilitative mechanism. So the anatomical knowledge has to be very sound. Human physiology is, again, a big part of the training program. So there's a lot of mentorship hours that the trainees will have to put in. So typically, they have to sit and observe other teachers teaching. They have to do their own personal workouts. They have to do lessons with authorized teachers. They have to practice teach. So there are a lot of mentorship hours which are included in the program that they have to fulfill to be able to become a Pilates teacher. So yes, it is a lengthy process. It cannot be done over a weekend certification or say, over a few days. But with Pilates Circle, we have very cleverly devised a very customized training program to get teachers on the floor to be able to teach the first couple of levels. And then we'll go on to keep upgrading their skills and give them additional material as they go along. So they're going to learn to be able to do Pilates in their own body while they're simultaneously teaching.
Yeah. Just to give people some sense of also, where are we in Pilates journey in India? How many Pilates studios are today approximately operating in the country, and how many people who are certified? I'm guessing there are probably a few different certification sources. So all put together, where are we in the Pilates journey?
There are roughly around 100 odd studios in India. It includes the top 4 metros and even the smaller cities.
100 is a very small number for a country the size of India.
Exactly. And it's mostly run by standalone operators. There are a couple of them who franchised and they have more than a few centers. But all in all, it's that number is close to 100. So there's a lot more to do. The opportunity is a lot more than 100. In terms of the instructors, that it's very fragmented. So because there are a bunch of other certifications, and then there are workshops that happen over a 4-day course or an 8-day course, and they all call themselves certified instructors. So that number is pretty fragmented. In my estimate, it should be around less than 1,000 overall put together who've done some sort of course in Pilates. It also comes at a cost. It's an expensive course wherever you do it. And hence the uptake hasn't been very, very large so far.
So still very early. And I don't know, is there how many Pilates studios will there be in the US? Do you know ballpark?
Oh my God. Every city, if you take into account, like New York, for example, would easily have over 100 studios.
Yeah, that comparison keep coming up. I think somebody, 5, 7, 8 years ago, in a very different context, someone told me that New York has more restaurant to eat out compared to all of India. And now we're saying, New York has more Pilates studios than all of India put together.
Yeah.
Which also in some way shows how much opportunity is there.
Absolutely.
So Rishabh, at Cult, how are you thinking about expansion? I think they were feeling pretty good about initial, reaction to this center. And I think you were sharing that we're looking to accelerate expansion plans. So how does it look like over the next few years?
Yes. So we'll open within this year, we'll open 10 studios. There are 2 more in pipeline, which will just open within the next month or so in Bangalore. And then we'll start opening in Delhi and Mumbai. So 10 studios within this year. another 35 to 40 studios within next year. And by in another 3 years, we'll be about 100 studios put together in India.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be great. I think, what Cult has done last 6-7 years is to make, in general, fitness accessible to a lot of people. And, I am convinced that Pilates is also one very effective method of exercise, and is also longevity both for trainers and the person working out.
Yeah.
It can be a lifelong practice. So I think being able to create that kind of footprint and making it accessible,
Yes.
and hopefully somewhat affordable as well in the process, I think can, contribute further to promote the fitness journey in the country. And while we agree that it is for both men and women, but if Pilates is able to bring a lot more women into fitness, that also is something very much a need of the hour, because we know that most of gyms in India are heavily male, considered, except the dance class is obviously a massive exception. But in general, gyms are, too many men, and a lot more women need to come into fitness. Kavitha, let's also talk about, different equipment. So we start with reformer, then we use this,
Then we
chair.
use the Wanda chair. So the Wanda
chair, yes.
spelled is WUNDA.
Okay.
So that piece of equipment is the smallest equipment in the original traditional equipment that was used by Joseph Pilates. Again, it's like a chair that you sit on. It has a paddle with springs attached to it. Exercises, again, are done on all planes of movement, sitting, standing, offers a lot of integration, strength, and balance.
Mm-hmm.
And again, incorporating all of the spinal movements like you experienced. We worked on your spinal flexion, extension, lateral flexion, and also your rotation. So yes, in the traditional format, we use the reformer, we use the Wanda chair, we use the Cadillac, we use the tower system, and of course the mat. Apart from that, there are different kinds of barrels that we use, mainly the ladder barrel and different spine correctors, which help with spinal alignment and allows for decompression of the spine as well.
Is this equipment easy to find in India, or you have to import all of it?
Well, again, yes, there are big suppliers in the US who make this equipment, and some of the equipments are also patented. But now everybody across the world seems to be making equipment. It depends how much you want to spend. You can buy equipment in China. You can even buy equipment in Delhi. Now I hear somebody's making it. Somebody's making it in Nagpur also. Again, because these equipments don't require a lot of maintenance. Only the springs need to be changed possibly every 5 years, and depending on the usage, because they're not motorized, it's lifelong. Like I've had equipment with me, which probably is about 20 years old and which is still brand new.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. One of the things I was, reading about Joseph Pilates, that he said, this has had this thing of 10, 20, 30 session. Can you talk about that? And, almost like promise of completely new body in 30 sessions. That's a tall claim.
Well, I know that is a tall claim, but again, it's a very individualized.
Maybe first explain, what did he mean by 10, 20, 30 sessions?
So what he said is, in 10 sessions, you will see the difference in your body. And in 20 sessions, I think, if I don't remember the quote quite right, but in 30 sessions, you'll have a whole new body. So he meant to say that the changes will happen. The more sessions you do, you will see that your body is changed completely. And it is come into equilibrium because the whole practice helps with uniform development. So you'll definitely be in balance. So that's what he meant to say. So that's a quote that most of them use. In 10 sessions, you will feel the change. And then in 20 sessions, you'll see the change.
Yeah.
And in 30 sessions, you'll have a brand new body.
Look, that's a very compelling promise. I am sold, I think based on my first class experience. So I am going to sign up for 30 sessions. But paint a picture for me. What can I look forward to at the end of 30 sessions?
Definitely extremely aware of your body. You'll start sitting better. You'll start standing better. And you'll start walking better. You'll know where your shoulders have to be in space, where your rib cage needs to stay in alignment with your hips. And apart from that, you'll start feeling strength from deep within. Suppose you're going to the gym and you're lifting weights. You'll probably feel a lot more stability when you're lifting weights. You'll feel you're standing better because we focus so much on the feet, because again, everything that goes up through your body always stems from your feet. So I'm sure you'll find that definitely deep abdominal connections. And I think you should just need to do your 30 sessions and then decide for yourself and see what are the changes that you've seen.
Maybe a little progress to a stronger core six-pack achieved as well. Yeah.
Well,
No. But Rishabh, you were saying that you are seeing people from Cult, who've been strength training all their life are coming into, Pilates studio, and they're able to see their even gym performance go up as a result.
Yes. So one example that I'll give you is one of our teachers here, bodybuilder, very strong physique, squatting 100 kg for reps already, and started doing Pilates because that was required as a part of the course. Found it very hard because it's different than what he does what we do at the gym. But then over a period of time, his squat went up by 15 kgs without really practicing more squats. And when I asked him what happened, how are you able to make that claim? He said that it's probably because Pilates has strengthened my hip so much that I am able to load a lot better and I'm able to move with a lot more stability. It's also a lot about the mind. If you feel safe, your body will push. So that is what this one person has seen. Even from my standpoint, like for me, the biggest goal is, let's say I live until 80, for example. I just want to keep lifting.
Minimum, I think. We all need to aspire a lot more than that.
Yeah. Until whenever, I just want to make sure that I'm lifting weights until that time. And I see Pilates as a medium to help me achieve that. Because for me, weightlifting and weight training is very important. It keeps me grounded and sane. So if this helps me achieve that, I think it's a win for me.
Speaking of your living till 80 or beyond, what does Pilates mean for people in the later stages of their life? At Cult, we see how the membership start to kind of taper off in 40s, which is also not a good thing. I think even standard strength training and cardio training for people of all age groups. In fact, if anything, more for people in the later years to retain muscle and so on. That's going to be a journey. But from Pilates lens, people who are, let's say, now their 40s, 50s, 60s, who all should consider Pilates and can benefit from either of you can answer? You want to take that?
Well, I would say active agers surely. So what I've seen the trend here in India for the last 10 years is when say a husband or a wife, they come and do Pilates and they kind of really like it. Normally it's the wife who starts Pilates and then she gets a husband, acquainted with it. And then they go and relay that to their parents. And they want to come and try Pilates because they've had like an issue with their knee or they've had a surgery or some chronic condition. So because it's so safe, I do have, I would say at least about 8 to 10 clients who are well into their mid 70s that I teach. I see them about twice a week. And they are the ones who will never miss their Pilates lesson. So suppose I'm traveling, they're the ones who will message me and say, Kavitha, when are you back? We're missing our sessions. Because they know that they're able to move better. For them, I think as you start getting older, it's the confidence to be able to move without having to be dependent on a lot of people around them. Yeah. So I think that's where the whole active ager doing Pilates comes into being.
Yeah. It's also a very safe practice. Like I said, easy on the joints and you're still doing resistance training with the spring mechanism. I think because of the low impact nature of Pilates, it's just become a rage across the older adults as well.
Yeah, I think Pilates, definitely fit in, at Cult from day one, our vision has been, we want to make fitness really accessible to everyone. Really start a fitness movement in India, which by all accounts, I think you have done. It's come a long way, over already 1 million plus users. But our vision is to eventually help 100 million plus people. And many of them can benefit from different type of formats, such as Pilates and others over the course of time. I think it's great to see how this particular studio has, come about. I even not putting my Cult hat, just as a potential member. I think it's a world-class experience. I've been to Pilates studios in around the world as well. This is, I think, absolutely comparable to anything. I'm sure you will agree. Any of those 100 studios in New York.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So I think, and great, we're looking forward to expand this. Rishabh will look forward to getting to 100 plus centers in next, hopefully just 2 to 3 years, not long. And probably this will do its job in bringing a lot more people into fitness and try whole, bouquet of offerings that fitness has to offer. So Kavitha, thanks so much for the class. It was,
Thank you so much.
really
It's
enjoy the
lovely
class
teaching
as well
you.
as this conversation. Hopefully, it makes awareness of Pilates go up in the country, and a lot more people can consider at least trying their first class or maybe trying those 30 class for whole new body.
Surely.
Exactly. Thanks, Rishabh.
Thank you.
At SparX, we aim to bring to you stories of exponential impact. We share in-depth analysis of what goes behind success stories. If you find our conversations interesting, you can join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also listen to SparX on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or any other audio platform of your choice. If you have any suggestions on who we should invite or what topics we need to cover, just let us know in the comments. We are always listening, looking for ways to improve, and keep getting better as we go along.